It's the Waiting for Next Year.com podcast. I am Dave Sterling. With me, partner in crime, Craig. How's it going?
It's going. We decided to do this kind of recording format so that the recording would be on your end because the weather is totally messed up near me.
We're getting some light rain at this point. A few rumbles of thunder. We're both in our basements just in case.
I gotta move south, man. You know, if I lived almost to Kentucky the way you do.
Yeah, most of the way there.
Before we went live, we were talking about a lot of the recent podcasts and how they have, and I talked about this while we're waiting as well last week, but the Shelf Life podcast is kind of a wacky thing for us because, I mean, I guess during Brown season, we have a Shelf Life podcast when we break down Brown's action, but that lasts kind of 3-4 days at least.
Yeah, you get a week.
But this back to this 1 day off in between games makes everything so dated so quickly.
Yeah, if you don't listen to this between tonight and tomorrow, if you hear it Wednesday, depending on what happens on Tuesday, it makes no sense.
Yeah, because
you have no reason to listen.
We're all subdued and normal right now, but if the Cavaliers somehow manage to force a Game 7, we'll sound ludicrous. Just ridiculous.
Yeah, we had to take a brief hiatus from our sports movie podcast based solely on the fact that I've got 2 nights a week, sometimes 3, already booked.
Yeah.
So I don't have time to watch movies and then podcast about them. I just don't have the extra time right now.
First world problems. But no, I'm with you. I'd forgotten what a playoff schedule was like, and add in the fact that the last time the Cavs were in the playoffs, I believe I had a newborn when the decision happened. So I think my son was like 3 months old.
Yeah.
And so now I have 2 children, and now I'm contending with a playoff schedule for the first time since I've had children, which is kind of messed up to say. Yeah,
I was.
You were single, right?
I was single.
Whew.
So yeah, I was able to, and Mary Ellen and I lived about an hour away, so we were either making plans to see each other or not. But it was very easy to schedule. Well, I'll be busy Tuesday and Thursday. I'll see you Wednesday.
Well, and she's such a big basketball fan. She knew that she had to come hang out with you during games. So
she actually, when we were dating, bought us for the 2 of us to go to a game the nicest seats I've ever sat in.
Wow.
They were like lower level, kind of near the 3-point line. They were the best seats I've ever sat in, and she bought them just so. Hey, I bought these tickets.
How many
nice.
How many times has she done that since you've been married? It's like that old gag. You can start buying her, appliances for holidays, and you stop buying each other the stuff that you bought each other when you were dating.
Right. Yeah, we went to a playoff game. Whatever year LeBron won the MVP.
Oh, okay.
The first time he won the MVP, because
right.
There's a picture of us wearing our witness MVP shirts. So, yeah, we had actually a lot of basketball in our relationship, and then that whole decision thing happened, and we don't need to talk about it because LeBron's on the Cavs.
I'm trying really hard not to do any complaining whatsoever about this Cavs team and all the stuff that's going on. It's hard to believe after the last 10 minutes of talk where we kind of complained about the schedule. But no, it's not really complaining.
Oh, no. You know what? It's not complaining because
it's just realistic contention.
Next week, there's going to be like win or lose. There's going to be this hole.
Yeah.
And not that there aren't other things to fill one's time with, but as fans, it's been fun to compare the hardships that we as fans go through.
No, and I really
to the players, but
right.
because like Dellavedova had to go to the hospital because his whole body cramped, and we're like, man, I only got 4 hours of sleep last night.
Yeah.
But it is fun because you kind of feel like part of the team, that you're sacrificing for the team too, and you're rooting as hard as you can for the team too.
It's something that's bringing the town together. It's like a side effect where everybody's going, man, aren't you tired? Yep, I'm tired. I had to stay up to watch that game. Yeah, me too.
And everybody's wearing the stuff.
It's finally, and I used to look down on bandwagons. I don't know what my problem was. The non-sports fans are Cavs fans right now.
Yep.
And that's not dirty. That's cool. I don't know.
It's not dirty, and it's cool, and you can know that you watched a game.
Oh no, true fan. We're going to do the true fan thing?
No,
I'm
saying that those there's two ways to handle it. Because I've seen angry people who go, well, you weren't with us for blah, 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 blah. But you can also, there's a good way of doing that.
You know what?
Like,
I got to interrupt you because back when I was back in ye olden days when I used to smoke cigarettes, we used to feel that way about all the people who'd come outside in springtime. We're like, no, man, we've been out here in 2 feet of snow, outdoors, enjoying the air. I mean, smoking. And you guys wait till it's 65 and sunny before you set foot out. No, this is our space. We've been here. True fan.
Yeah, well,
it's like the most bastardized version of true fan ever.
Right. But yeah, I mean, you can welcome the bandwagoners and still, you could and still know that you were watching the team when Samardo Samuels was there.
Just say it, OG. You were OG Cavs.
But there is also nothing wrong with saying, I stopped watching the Cavs when LeBron left and started again when he came back. There's nothing wrong with any of that.
I remember when Samardo Samuels lost weight. What's up? I wonder what the best version of that statement is. Like, obviously, you could say Samardo Samuels lost weight. I was a fan of Semi Erden's neck beard. There's got to be more. I got Jawad Williams' autograph. That one's true, actually.
You did get his autograph?
Somehow or another, we ended up with an autographed hat. I think it was a giveaway promotion for something. Yeah, you know what's up. That's like an Indians fan talking about Trot Nixon.
Trot. Yeah, I'm trying to think of. I mean, there's the time when we all lobbied that Jamario Moon should be in the dunk contest.
Did we?
I think so on Twitter.
Oh, that's embarrassing. I think we did.
Someone, of course, is going to declare me wrong on that, but I think I remember that happening.
In my mind, we traded Andy Varejao 37 times.
Right. You know what? I don't want to get too actual basketball-y on this podcast because it's nice to have a nice, relaxed podcast. But as much crap as Andy takes from, like, not so much fans, but, like, media members every trade deadline, I think any of the three pieces missing from the Cavs right now, and I'm considering Anderson Varejao a missing piece, any three of those, I think, could have put one of these games in our favor.
Oh, easily. I think you're 100% right. And that just goes to show how close they were.
Yeah, well, I want to say that Varejao at 100%. Like, I'm not saying, yeah, get him out there now, but Varejao at 100% takes that small ball lineup that you were working on and adds a rim protector who's kind of athletic enough to run around a little bit and be crazy and stuff.
Oh yeah,
and I really think that would have diffused that strategy.
Well, and it's another defender on the pick and roll who he's probably better out on. Or, well, at one time he was better out on a guard than Tristan.
Yeah, that's that. I haven't seen him play full strength in a while.
In a while.
But but vintage Andy would have been the perfect member of that small ball lineup, so you could move LeBron from being the center to being a forward, and that lineup's pretty good against the small Golden State lineup.
But it's funny though, how many people do you know who have kind of like given up and gone sad sack on this thing already?
I have some, and I hate to do this. I will quote something I heard on sports radio today.
No names, please.
But Cavs at home tomorrow, and I think we can do it. I think the crowd will show up. I think we can force a Game 7, and as dumb as it sounds, you'd be hard-pressed to want to bet against LeBron James in a Game 7. And while he can't do it all himself...
Wait, so what's the part that you heard on sports radio?
That part.
Oh. Okay.
What wasn't sports radio about that?
Oh, no, I was waiting for the something utterly stupid or...
No, that's why I said I hated to quote it. It was actually pretty...
Okay.
Pretty good. Now, I'm not going to say what any of the callers said.
Right. Okay. No, I mean that's there were some callers today, man. I'm telling you. The
What's Blatt's got to do?
Yeah, the basketball conspiracy theorists regarding the refs. I mean, refs are bad and can be bad, but this idea that they're smart enough to have a vast running conspiracy to fix who's going to do what because it's better for NBA business.
Well, yeah, exactly. You can say, yeah, when Joey Crawford's in, LeBron doesn't get calls, but that's not the league saying you're going to force this to Game 7. That's just Joey Crawford not liking LeBron. Like, there are tendencies that you can have without there being conspiracies.
That's Joey Crawford having an ego to make it all about himself whenever possible.
Yeah, my favorite caller today. You know, David Blatt's got to put in Marion. He can get steals and then easy buckets. The Cavs were working too hard for their buckets, so you put in Marion and he gets some steals and some easy layups.
Yeah,
I didn't mean for that to sound like Bernie Kosar. It was not Bernie Kosar who called.
No, but that's so great because that was like the first thing that I talked about this morning on WKYC when I was talking on that show. It was like, there is no magic bullet. Let's not pretend like David Blatt has a magic bullet in his gun. Could he make slight adjustments? Yeah, and it could end up being worse. We just have no idea. And at this point, it's not like he's sat a 70% Kyrie Irving on the bench. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have options. He doesn't have choices. This team is doing absolutely everything it possibly can. Even the Mozgov thing. When Mozgov played in Game 5, whenever he was given a chance, he kind of peed down his leg. Okay?
Right.
And so that's and we know he's inconsistent at best. So that's the evidence that Blatt has to go off of when he decides to only play him 9 minutes. Let's not pretend like Mozgov dunked it 7 times, blocked 3 shots, and rebounded 4 times in the first 4 minutes.
Well, and the other thing is when Mozgov went crazy in Game 4, it didn't matter. You got blown out.
Well, but even better yet, he was doing well, and he left him there.
Right, but still, that strategy worked for Golden State because of the ways they were able to play it. Well, and they were willing to give up his 28 points.
But let's not pretend like that's even true. Let's pretend like that's not true.
Okay.
David Blatt is capable and willing to do different things on different nights depending on the evidence he's presented with.
You know, I'm sad I'm about to make this joke on a Shelf Life podcast, but Cleveland, Air Bud is not walking through that door.
No.
There's no magical dog that's going to come in and win this series for you. You got to use what you got right now.
You got Michael J. Fox without Teen Wolf.
Yeah. He's going to have, you know what? The power was inside of you all along.
You've got Scott. You don't have Teen Wolf. I loved that movie as a kid. That's a movie as a kid that we had taped from a TV broadcast version.
Mm.
And so I didn't know. I saw the movie much later on cable, when it was kind of in its fourth or fifth iteration on HBO or Cinemax or something when I was in college. And I didn't know that Teen Wolf finds a bag of pot in the garage because that had been edited out of my TV version. And I didn't know a couple of these different little things that had happened in Teen Wolf. It was like an awakening.
Well, definitely that is on the list, and we do consider that a sports movie.
Absolutely.
So that is eventually going to be covered.
Did you have any of those movies as a kid that you maybe taped on your VCR off the TV, but then you realized later that there was a raunchier version or something?
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Ah.
We had taped from TV. So Cameron called his car or when Ferris called Cameron's car a piece of tin.
Oh, and when he talks to Rooney on the phone, he probably doesn't say "you're an asshole."
No. So yeah, I remember that specifically because you could also like see them. They didn't do a very good job of the TV dubbing either.
No.
They just, you know what? Just change the words. Now they blur the mouths even.
Yeah, there was one, I'm trying to remember. It might have been a Kevin Smith movie that they moved to TV, or maybe it was Howard Stern Private Parts when that made its cable debut on USA or something. And instead of doing that weird stuff with the words, they just beeped it.
Yeah.
And that worked better.
Yeah. I think it does, frankly.
I mean, because at least a beep, I know where I'm supposed to use my imagination. The fake words kind of pull you out of it worse.
Yeah.
We live in a world where we're used to the beep.
Yeah, and I think the beep used properly can be funnier than the actual word. That was definitely true on Family Guy.
Yo, yeah.
Where this is an odd story to have on a podcast, but I just
They're
remember
all odd stories. Just wait till I'm talking about System of a Down next. So go ahead.
There was a story that essentially the censors on Family Guy in their first couple of seasons didn't like it, even when they beeped the swear word for Stewie to swear.
Uh-huh.
So, like, at the end of the second season, before it got canceled the first time, Stewie was going to say, I don't have to effing impress you. And said but they were going to beep it. And basically the censor said, no, you can't do that. Even if you beep it, we don't want the baby to swear. And they kind of went, listen, we're not getting picked up. We're getting canceled. Could you just let it slide for this? And they're like, oh, okay. And then they had 2 more seasons before they did get canceled. But yeah, they didn't even like a baby swearing even when you couldn't even hear it.
That's so weird. So my System of a Down story, I'm constantly trying to introduce real music to my children as opposed to, we're going to listen
Wheels
to
on the Bus.
Yeah, we're not going to listen to Barney. They get all that stuff at daycare or whatever anyway, so I can't keep too much of it away from them anyway. But so I try and pick out these weird songs, and so I wanted to introduce them to Sugar by System of a Down. Sugar, which is a great song. And so we started listening to it, and then I realized just how many swear words and different things there are in it. So I had to go on YouTube and find the radio edit on YouTube, and now they love the song.
I will send you there's a band called Russian Circles.
Okay.
They're a metal band that's completely instrumental. And it's really, really enjoyable. And your kids could jump around and thrash to it all day.
But do they scream sugar?
They do not scream anything.
I don't know that's going to work. Because Will, my 2-year-old, likes to scream sugar.
Well, you know what? Then you should go to just switch to Rammstein and teach them some German, because they're not going to understand what the hell they're saying anyway.
Yeah, the Enlightenment, the contributing to the delinquency of my minors. Oh man, and that's another thing. I don't want to go down the crotchety old man. When my day they started.
Oh, I'm willing to.
But my kids have not seen 2 minutes of playoff basketball. And granted, they're too young. They're never going to remember it anyway.
Yeah.
But I cannot indoctrinate them into the biggest LeBron James Cavaliers series, maybe one of the biggest basketball moments of their lives. And there's no way for me. They wear the jerseys to school, and everybody's putting on a front, but none of them get to see a minute of the game.
Well, you need to do them a favor later in life, and take pictures of them wearing the jerseys, and then you need to be in the pictures with them. So then, 25 years from now, when LeBron James Jr. and Bryce James are both playing for the Cavs, they can say, look, I've been a Cavs fan all my life. Look at this picture.
Yeah. And still no championship.
Yeah. Can you believe that Kevin Love got both of his arms taken out in a chocolate milk accident?
Son of a gun.
In 2016? Yeah, because I have some pictures of me in a Browns jersey, age 3 or 4.
You and Brady Quinn.
Yep, that I just keep as proof that I was raised in an abusive family.
Oh, so have you successfully avoided having to make any kind of predictions?
Yeah. People ask me, like, people that know that I do this podcast sometimes and that I write stuff for Waiting for Next Year sometimes. Number one, I don't know if they realize that the only things I've ever written were jokes. And I got this podcast job because of jokes. So they asked me.
Yeah, I definitely didn't ask you to be a part of this because of your sports takes. Like, in particular. Like, you're not.
Wow, that's kind of harsher than I thought it was going to be.
Well, no, but I mean, you're not like Jakey Stats.
No, and I never will be. But
nobody cares what you think about player efficiency ratings unless it's like to make fun of them because they're funny.
Right.
You have a more universal talent. Does that make you feel better?
Sure, I'll go with that. No, but people still, well, what do you think's going to happen? What do you do? What do you think tomorrow?
See, if I was writing this up, the bullet point would be Craig makes Dave feel bad about himself.
Oh, crap. I forgot I was supposed to be writing this up. It's a disposable one. We'll just throw a couple of lines on there. No, I'll do it.
So predictions.
Dad. My prediction...
No. People make you... You were saying that people make you give predictions.
Yeah, they assume that I'm some sort of authority. And I'm like, I don't know. Well, I thought we were going to take both of them at home, and I thought that Kyrie was going to be better, and I thought that Kevin Love's arm was going to go back in its socket, and I thought all sorts of things that ended up being wrong.
Yeah, so I was asked this morning, and the only thing that I was willing to commit to was that I thought if there was anybody who was going to step up and have a big game not named LeBron, that I was betting on Delly. Before JR, before Shumpert, Delly's the only one I can think of, and he's the last one other than Mozgov who had a good game.
Yeah.
JR
had half a one.
Which is really scary.
Yeah.
If you have to bet based on past performance, you're looking at Delly and Mozgov.
Well, Tristan's had consistent games, but you're never getting points out of him.
No, you can get 12.
Yeah,
if they start fouling him on purpose.
You know what would be great?
No,
if we had goddamn Kevin Love. You know what we'd be doing right now? Do you mind if I use the F word?
Sure.
We'd be at the fucking parade right now. Right now, we'd be at the parade if Kevin Love had 2 arms.
That was something else that I came up with this morning. Like, I'll never underestimate anymore. I'll never underestimate the value of Kyrie Irving. But I underestimated the value of, like, half a Kyrie Irving just distracting people on the court.
Yeah.
If he could somehow summon the energy to stand at the 3-point line, it makes J.R. Smith better.
Yeah. And it makes one of their guys kind of need to stand kind of near him. Because that's all that it matters.
Because when Kyrie went down for good after game 1, I was like, well, he'd been hurt. he was half of himself for the last few weeks anyway. And that's not an insult to Kyrie Irving. That was just a statement about his health. But decoy Kyrie Irving rules, even compared to whatever the Cavs have left. So that's just a really...
Well, and it's also NBA caliber bodies that can come in for a little bit.
Yeah. No, but I'm telling you, man, if they just put in Matrix, they'd be getting steals and making buckets.
Easy buckets.
I love it. I love it. The casual phrasing of like some dude on the phone who wants to talk about easy buckets for the tricks. Like, you don't know them. You're not that comfortable. Stop it.
I'm telling you, man, if we got Booby Gibson back, he could be a corner 3 specialist. This never would have happened if you would have signed Ray Allen.
You know what? How badly could they use Ray Allen?
I know.
Yeah. At least he didn't play for anybody.
That's true.
Well, I think
maybe we'll get a last minute Bill Murray like in Space Jam.
Oh, no. We get it, man. You host a sports movie podcast. We get it. The Monstars.
I'm gonna alienate everybody. We did not like Space Jam, and the internet gets really mad when you talk poorly of Space Jam. But it's not a good movie.
I told you that you're wrong about that because my kids liked it. There are bad kids movies that my kids are like, yeah, this stinks. But that was not one of them.
All right.
That was not.
How did you explain who Michael Jordan was?
Yeah, right? They didn't care. Bugs Bunny was on there.
True.
So I managed to go spoiler-free on Game of Thrones. It is Monday evening. So I'm going to go watch Game of Thrones now.
You should do that. You should also, instead of that...
Don't spoil it! Sorry.
You should watch Silicon Valley instead. It's a much better show.
You know what? I got time. I don't have to pick and choose. I can just watch them both.
Go. All right, and I'm saying this right now. Do you want to go to the watch party for Game 7 at the Q?
Yes, absolutely.
Then let's... All right, listeners, please don't try to get tickets. Don't clog the system. Craig and I are going to go.
Thank you. And if you get 2 tickets, just remember that they're for us. And you're going to give them to us.
Yes, we will have you as a guest on the podcast for a short ceremony where you present us with the tickets.
And I know they cost $5, but that's for charity, and we're not going to pay you for charity.
Yeah,
you're gonna give money to charity, and then we're gonna get
bullshit, and that's selfish.
We're gonna get tickets for free.
That is selfish on your part, and I think you should kind of feel bad about that and take a look at yourself.
In fact, you should give us an extra $5 for making a mockery of the charity by suggesting that we pay you for those tickets.
And we are going to assume that all beer proceeds also go to charity, and that's where we will use our $5 that you've given us.
Plus $2.25 to pay for one beer. Because there's no beer available at the queue for $5.
There's a $7.25 Bud Light calling our name.
I think that's the perfect place to end. So I'm going to let you do the outro because you're the recording man.
Well, that is great. I'm going to go listen to this and bullet point it. Ladies and gentlemen, we are all in. This has been the waitingfornextyear.com podcast.
That's right, man. I'll bullet point it. It's no big deal.
No, I'll do it.
All right, man. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Waiting for next year.